If you think of it from a scholastic point of view, this is an advanced course in entrepreneurship that they're doing because they go from purchasing the young poults, purchasing the feed, raising them, butchering them, developing a website, attracting customers, doing the sales,
maintaining a customer base,
many repeat customers that come back, handling customer questions. They essentially run the business.
It's not like I do all of these things all of the time, but it totally is a growth thing. Like if you decide that service is really important to you right now, or if you decide reading books is really important to you right now, it's not like you have to do everything at once, right? Where you are and decide what is most important and grow there.
What if I told you that a story could teach your child more history, science, math, and literature than a year of textbooks? Welcome to the Story Schooling Podcast. I'm Angel Selden, author of Curiouser.
And I'm Sandy Fouts, co-founder of Wonder While Learning.
This conversation is a continuation of last episode.
Yes, I want to hear your thoughts on the power of boredom.
Well, boredom with a curated environment, especially. And when I say curated environment, I'm not like my house is like a museum. My house is most usually chaos, but we have a yard they can go explore. Ruthie and Ezra just bought a metal detector so they can find treasure on our property. They found so much treasure the first day. There's like 4 rusty nails and like this bolt they were really excited about. Like Ezra discovered every time you hold it over a tire, because we have a pile of tires, not my greatest moment. Like it beeps every time you hold it over a tire. Like every tire he holds it over, he's like, it says there's zinc. And I was like, I don't know what that means. So boredom with things, with not just the easy way of screens, because that's really easy. That can be a really easy default. But boredom causes them to become creative. And if they come to me and tell me they're bored, I'm like, that's so great. The toilet needs to be cleaned. And then they're like, oh, actually, I just thought of something I could do. So, yes.
Is that part of your Sunday meeting where you're like, hey, you've had a problem with getting bored this week. Let's brainstorm a list of your options for when you're bored.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And like so Ezra, so he's the youngest, and sometimes Ruthie's doing other things, so he doesn't have anyone to play with and nothing to do in the house, and like he can get a little dramatic. And so we'll also play this game. Okay, I'll give you an idea, and then you give me an idea, and so it forces his brain to come. Well, there's nothing I want to do. Well, I remember you were really wanting to like go use the hatchet and chop at the tree that fell on our car. Like, that could be fun. No. I was like, okay, well, I came up with an idea. You have to come up with an idea. And then he'll go off and build some marble tower. I don't know. But he's the worst culprit right now because he hasn't learned that I really will make him wash the toilet.
Do you have any examples of inviting them into your world, like things you're doing already that they have helped with or have inspired them? You're not setting aside more time as a homeschool parent to do this activity with your kids, but you're just doing your own thing, and then your kids help with it, and then they learn from that, whether it's for work or pleasure.
So I am a crazy chicken lady. We had chickens in Minnesota, but I got a letter from the city saying that I couldn't have chickens. It was very sad. So we had 6 chickens, and we named all of them. You probably remember them. And then they had to go away. But when we moved to Wyoming and we had a barn, I think the most chickens I ever had was just over 100. And
wow.
And we would sell the eggs. And so, and because I loved them. I loved them.
This was your project. You weren't just doing this for the kids.
No. They were tag-alongs, 100% tag-alongs. And then I was like, we should do 4-H because I want to learn about pigs. We should do 4-H because I want to raise turkeys. And we can learn all of this stuff if you do it. We had ducks, and Mason got grand champion pen of ducks. So I was raising these chickens, and then they started doing it, and they did turkeys. And then when we moved to Washington, we brought 2 goats, 3 goat kids, one tom turkey, two mama turkeys with their broods of baby turkeys, and like
And a
two
partridge
dogs.
in a pear tree.
Sorry. Dogs. Like, I don't remember how many cats we brought. And so we're like traveling across the country with our multiple vehicles and multiple trailers. And we thought we should charge at rest stops for people to come to our petting zoo. Anyhow, so when we got here, we'd had experience raising turkeys, and so we're like, let's raise Thanksgiving turkeys and we can sell them to people. And so it was Mason's project, and he raised turkeys at Thanksgiving. So again, this was a learning year because our first turkey dressed out at 46 pounds. If you've ever tried to put a 46-pound turkey in your oven, it doesn't work. It is, we have,
That is huge.
it
Oh my
was way
goodness.
too huge. Yes, that was way too big. And so people are, paying like $7 a pound for a 46-pound turkey. That wasn't really great either. That was not great.
Wow.
And so the next year, Mason did turkeys, and we made some movable chicken tractors. And again, like a lot of this was still like a lot of it was really heavily me supported. Therefore, since I don't finish projects, it was very heavily Steven supported. And so the next year Mason did it. The year after that, Mason and Sammy did it. The year after that, Mason and Lincoln did it. And then Lincoln's done it on his own completely for a couple of years. And this year, Lincoln's apprentice is Ruthie. And so he's been teaching her all of the things, and she does a lot of the work. And then next year, Ruthie's going to do it with Lincoln's support, but Ruthie will be in charge. So I guess this year she's 11.
That's so beautiful. What I'm hearing is they're learning how to figure things out for themselves. This process of experimentation, trial and error. This works, this doesn't. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to learn from. It's a very playful approach. This is for fun. And they're learning how to lead others. So your older kids get an opportunity to lead and teach and guide the younger ones.
Mm-hmm.
These are incredible skills. This is far more valuable than making sure they memorize, the Pythagorean theorem and long division and all these other things. Not that there's anything wrong with knowing those things, but to have the focus be on these life skills, these principles that apply to anything they pursue in their lives.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's if you think of it from a scholastic point of view, this is an advanced course in entrepreneurship that they're doing because they go from purchasing the young poults, the baby turkeys, doing all of the feed, purchasing the feed, raising them, butchering them, and then a lot of it, the big skill is developing a website, attracting customers, doing the sales,
Maintaining the customer base.
maintaining the customer base year to year, many repeat customers that come back, handling customer questions, all of this stuff is part of, they essentially run the business. And then I help them. My part on the back end is then, okay, let's account for all the expenses. And
They have to track everything.
Mhm.
How much they're spending, how much they're making, what other people in the market are selling similar, what market analysis, or I don't know, like he does all the business terms, and I'm like, here's what you need, and here's what you do. But then it's caring for living creatures. Like if they don't get fed and watered, guess what happens? They die. All right, should we tell?
Yeah.
Are you ready for the coyote story? We live in the woods, and the turkeys have these movable shelters. And so they're out during the day. So Lincoln has his electric fence around, and they're out during the day. But we also live in Washington in a forest. And so the fence is not always charged. And we get the poults in July, so that we figured out just when to get them. So they're the right age. So they're in this weight range that our customers want
for Thanksgiving.
Like all of this, they've figured out all of this. So anyhow, so it gets dark early, and so Lincoln has to close up the turkey. So he puts them in the pens because we have coyotes and we have mountain lions and we have things that would like to have a lovely fat bird. So it gets dark, and I'm like, hey, Lincoln, should go close up the turkeys. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. But then eventually he would, and then he'd come back in. One night I had reminded him, I don't know how many times, and I try not to do it too much because I'm like, natural consequences. But also I'm thinking each of these birds is worth like $200, especially towards the end. In the beginning, they haven't had a lot of feed. By the end, they've consumed like $30 of feed. So he comes running back in and he's like, a coyote, what are the, like, he's like freaking out because the coyote had just jumped the fence and ran and gone off with the bird. And, coyotes hunt in packs. And there was another one that had like its entire neck ripped off. It was still alive, but like the skin was gone. And he was freaking out as I'm like, I'm really sad for you. And I'm kind of glad because I hate reminding you all the time. So he lost a bird almost fully grown, and then he had this other one that was severely injured. And so whenever there's illness in the flock, they have to the kids take care of them. They have to isolate them. Like we had to spray Vetricin on it every day. We had to make sure it had fresh food and water. If it wasn't moving, we need to physically move it from like into clean straw so that it wouldn't just be sitting in its own mess. And then it actually did end up healing. So, I mean, think of all the lessons that that were learned just from this. I don't know if it was another year or the same year, didn't close them up again. And he had another coyote attack. And I don't think it made off with any that time. But you know what? After those 2 times, he closes those birds up. Uh, yeah.
Oh, I bet he does. Wow.
Yeah, right? I thought he would after 1, but no, it took 2. But
That's just so much more powerful of a learning experience than I'm going to set a contrived due date. Your assignment needs to be turned in by this due date or you're going to get a bad grade. I mean, this needs to be done. Like you said, this is a life or death situation, literally. And loss of money. So real risk. There's real risk inherent in this.
If he doesn't do the marketing for it, because we butcher a couple days before Thanksgiving, which is another whole learning experience. Look at this one, must be a female. Look at these eggs developing inside of her. Then he
way. Oh my!
It's really cool. Then he doesn't sell the birds, and so he has this major loss. And I'm like, I'm not buying 2 $200 birds. So there's this very, very real deadline that he has to do all of these things by. And so he's writing emails to customers and he's responding to things and he's seeking out new customers and new markets.
Wow, that's incredible.
At the end of this, he wrote a paper. He wrote a story for his class. I will send it to you too. You will get a kick out of it. But he wrote this fabulous story from the turkey that survived point of view. And it is really good. But it was hilarious.
Another skill I want to point out that I'm hearing is developing from all this is observation. And I have a chapter in my book of 6 habits of master teachers, and one is observe and ask. And so it's these opportunities to observe and ask questions, but all your kids who are involved in this turkey rearing project, it required being observant, both observing the birds, and I'm sure they became very hyper aware of if something wasn't right with the birds, like noticing sickness or injury or... Right. But then also observing the market. Like,
yeah, there's the price of feed. And then, what do you want your profit margin? Again, business lingo is from Stephen. What do you want your profit margin to be? How much time are you spending? What is your time worth? And then, yeah, what are other people in our area selling similar birds for? Yeah, all the market analysis. So Stephen is very analytical by nature. When we first started homeschooling and I first started doing inventories, I was not at all. I like writing things down. I'm like, I have no idea how to answer like what their interests are. Like I haven't paid attention. I haven't noticed. And so it has been this like 20-year thing for me to become more aware of what's around me. I didn't start out noticing things. It's been something I've grown into. I think, Sandy, you were saying you weren't a reader, but you've grown into it. And I love hearing things like that because it's not like I'm stuck where I am right now. Like if I decide something is important, then it doesn't matter if I know nothing. Like with turkeys and pigs, we knew nothing about it. But over time, every year we learn and then we observe and we're like, what can we do better? What did I not know I didn't know? And how can I improve? I think that's a really important thing.
That growth mindset. I can always learn. Hey, maybe I'm not so great at this now, but now that I know, I can choose to become good at this thing if I
Yeah,
want.
if it's important.
If it's important to you, right? Beautiful. My other thought, as you've been talking, we talked about how you've incorporated service into your homeschool, service for other people as well as within your family. I've been realizing how important it is that children have purpose and responsibility to and for others in their lives, how important that is for them just to be happy, even. Like, it's important for their education, but for their own happiness even, and how much our child rearing and education has become so focused on the child and what benefits the child, and you need to be doing schoolwork for you and progressing, in your own education, and then we take you to all these lessons after school, and that's for you. And just how beautiful it is that you've incorporated these volunteer experiences, which I think is kind of scary because for many parents now, because there is so much pressure to do more and more. Like, your kids need to be doing all the things. They need to be getting straight A's in school, and they need to be involved in a sport and a musical instrument or whatever. So it feels like you're missing out on that when you slow down and take time to have purpose for others. But do you have any more thoughts on that, the service aspect of your education?
Yeah, I agree. And Claire's very good at finding those opportunities for us as a family to serve others. There was a time when when our oldest were getting up into um, yeah, an age where they were quite capable of doing things around the house. We debated about what to do with allowances. So when our kids were getting older and quite capable, we wanted to know, what should we do with allowances? Should we give them an allowance? Should we make jobs paid, like so if they do jobs around the house, then we can pay them for them, right? And different families will come to different conclusions. Just for us, we decided that we don't want to create our family as an economic unit and think of it as this kind of economic unit where there's wages and labor, and then all of a sudden we'd come into labor negotiations. I'd hate for that with them, right? I wanted to think
Mm-hmm.
about our family as a cohesive social unit where all of us have the welfare of one another in mind, and there's just a social obligation that we help one another. And because we are first and foremost a family unit, not individuals, but a family unit. And so with that idea in mind, then we chose not to do allowances or to pay for jobs around the house because we wanted it just to be an expectation. Of course you do these jobs. Of course you have chores and other things because we are a family and all of us pitch in together for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of
I
that
love
idea
that.
of serving one another, right? And so whatever collective you're part of, whether it's your family or whether it's your community, whether it's your work organization, whatever else, we want to instill in them that when you belong to something, you pitch in to make it great.
I love that. You just gave me an incredible aha moment. Well, a question really. And again, like you said, I don't think that families who choose to give allowance or pay their children for chores, I don't think they're ruining their kids or anything,
Right.
but the thought came to mind as you were talking, are we in any way robbing them of the satisfaction of serving their families when we do pay them, when we make it an economic unit?
I
I
think
don't know.
it
It's
comes
just a
down
question.
to if you think of the different types of motivation, your internal, being motivated internally, or your external motivation. I remember a time with my oldest son, he was mowing the lawn, and it was kind of a big job, and he was a little guy, and we finally decided, we're going to pay you to do this service for our family. And it was when we started paying him is when he stopped doing it. There was this like motivation that came internally to help the family and to be part of that unit. But when we offered to pay it, that motivation died within him and he stopped mowing the lawn. And it was just fascinating to me because logically you would think you'd be more motivated to be paid by it. But the being a part of that unit and a contributor was more motivating than the money was. And we shifted things in our family. That was a big aha moment for us on what really truly does motivate us as human beings.
Yeah, we sometimes, when there are bigger jobs, we're like, once you've done your regular stuff, then this is, you can do this extra thing that I don't have time to do, and we'll pay. But
That's
Those are
above
rare.
and
those are
beyond what
rare.
you would think. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's rare.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's really easy to get caught up in ourselves and in our own busyness and forget to look out and see other people. Like, I feel like I'm coming out of a phase in my life where I've been really focused. I've had to be really focused on my kids, and that, and kind of it's kind of like, I was looking out everywhere, and it was like here, and I feel like I'm opening up a little bit now and starting to think of other ways that I can serve with my kids. And I think that's kind of like with reading, when I was saying that we read and our kids see us read, and so that's just what happens. Like, that's their worldview is that mom and dad read. And I think it's similar with service. If we are serving and we invite our kids to come with us, then it's so much better than like prescribing to them that they need to serve. But this is something that I do, and please come with me. Join
I
me.
love that. I love that. So who you are and who you are to your children is more important than what you require of your children.
And again, this is me talking after almost 20 years of trial and error. And it's not like I do all of these things all of the time, but it totally is a growth thing. Like, if you decide that service is really important to you right now, or if you decide reading books is really important to you right now, it's not like you have to do everything at once, right? Like, you start where you are and decide what is most important and grow there. And then things will change, and maybe you'll come into something else.
If this podcast was helpful for you, please leave us a review and share with a friend.
Until next time, start with stories and everything else will follow.
You can learn more about our other education projects at angelselda.com and wonderwelllearning.com.